And now we are joined with Patty Hopper, who is an escrow officer with Oakwood Escrow. Hi, Patty. How are you?
I'm good, Angie. Thanks. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
So tell me, what made you become an escrow officer? What goes through someone's mind to be like, oh, I'm going to be an escrow officer?
Well, my circumstances, I was in the field of veterinarian, and my sister, who was an escrow officer, called me one night and said, make sure you have a nice outfit because you have an interview tomorrow to come to work for an escrow company. And I started as a receptionist and worked my way up.
So you had no real interest, you just kind of got placed in the position.
That's right.
Wow. Well, you're amazing at what you do, so I guess that was your calling.
Maybe it runs in the blood.
Absolutely. So I'm sure you've worked for many companies over the years. You've been an escrow officer for how long?
20 years.
20 years. So you've probably worked at different places. What made you come to Oakwood Escrow, and what makes Oakwood Escrow different in your opinion since you have worked at other companies?
The biggest difference is the ownership. They just take very good care of the people here, and the marketing staff just is they rock. And the team here, everybody works together, and we do all work as a team.
Absolutely. So what made you make the move to Oakwood?
Well, I worked for one company for a really long time, and I wasn't getting the support. And knowing that Oakwood has this kind of a staff and team, it was just, the right place to go.
Easy decision. I love it. So escrow, I know that escrow has a lot of misconceptions out there and a lot of paperwork, a lot of scariness, a lot of people have. What would be the biggest misconception that you think people have about escrow?
Well, probably that we have control over making any decisions. Escrow is the neutral third party, and we have to take instructions from the principals. Escrow doesn't have any control over the lender in drawing loan documents. Pretty much the only thing that we have control over is preparing the paperwork for escrow instructions, sending it out, and sending it off to the appropriate parties.
So a lot of people think that you're able to maybe handle their loan or handle documents that really have nothing to do with you. So what do you do in that type of a situation? How do you handle that?
Try to give them an explanation about the course of the transaction and what happens, and try and get to the person that will be able to give them the answer. So we give the call to the lender and make sure that we can give them an answer of the status of their loan.
A lot of education.
Mm-hmm.
So I know Oakwood is an independent escrow company, and what do you think the difference is between maybe an independent escrow company and a company that has title tied to them?
They care more. It's not this company, and the first company that I worked for that was an independent seems to care more about the customer than the bottom line dollar.
Absolutely. So 3 tips that you would give someone looking, or not looking, but that is going into escrow. Top 3 tips to have them set up to have a successful escrow transaction.
I would probably direct that more towards the agents. So for a listing agent, it would be important for a smooth transaction for them to have HOA information available and payoff information so that we can get that stuff ordered up front and ahead of time. Statements of information from the buyers and the sellers. The agent can encourage the transaction, the principals in the transaction, to get those to us so that we can get things cleared so there's no liens that pop up the day before we're supposed to close. And third, I'm at a loss.
So it just sounds like just being really prepared and having kind of your ducks in a row so that everything goes smoothly.
Yes.
And a lot of that I do think goes back to education.
Yes. And as much information up front that you can give an escrow officer so that we can run with it, the better.
So what do you do with your agent clients to prepare them so that they can then prepare their clients to have a good escrow transaction? Do you have a checklist? Do you do classes, education? How do you educate your clients, which would be the realtors or the agents, to then have this information to pass on to their clients?
A lot of it's phone conversations. I do some classes. I do absolutely have a checklist. A lot of times agents don't fill it out completely, so I encourage them. I will call them when I receive one that's not completed so that I can get all of the information. And I think just the opportunity to connect with them that way, they'll fill it out more completely the next time. so that I can get all the information I need. A lot of what I do is calling and asking the same questions, but most of the people that I work with are getting used to the fact that those are the answers that I need.
Absolutely. And I kind of jumped ahead, but to the general consumer that's out there watching this today, give your big picture definition of what is escrow.
What is escrow? Escrow is we're the paper pushers and the money collectors. So an agent that I worked with a long time ago told me that I was the quarterback of the transaction. So basically I get handed the ball and I just run with it. So, and I walk you through the beginning steps of, after you've signed the contract, you sign escrow instructions. And once you've done that, I walk you through what happens with your lender, with the seller. You pay off your loan. We walk them through loan documents, signing once we get the documents, and any questions that they have in between. And if I don't have an answer, I can always point them in the direction of who's got the answer for them. For example, if there's an HOA and they've got questions regarding a specific, situation with the HOA company, I would provide them with the information to contact the HOA company directly.
Absolutely. I like that, the quarterback. I always hear the glue of the transaction. I like the quarterback.
I was always the quarterback.
So last final thing, how important is it when you're choosing your escrow officer experience?
I think it's really important. There are a lot of things that can come up in a transaction, and if an escrow officer hasn't done it before, or they've not heard or had the experience, you can run into problems, and it can cause the whole transaction to fall apart.
Absolutely, and I think experience also helps you foresee these possible issues and
Absolutely.
eliminate them. Great, Patty. Well, it was all very informative. And next up, we are joined with Sam Goodwin, who is from HOCOA.